Hey you guys, it's Amélie, and today we're going to be talking about the books that are on my TBR shelf. So I saw Naya Reads and Smiles do a similar video where basically she talked about the books that she had on her TBR shelf. She was putting it together for the first time and she just talked about the books that she had on her TBR shelf, and it inspired me to create my own video where I talk about the books that are on my TBR shelf. I will leave a link to Naya's videos in the description box if you want to check it out. But I just thought that we would talk about the books that I have purchased, but for some reason I just haven't gotten around to reading. Some of these have been here for a long time, but I'm very motivated to start reading them and just talk about them with you guys. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and jump right in. So the first book that I have on my TBR shelf is this anthology of Jane Austen's work. Basically, it just says Jane Austen, 7 novels, don't know if you can tell. So I got this when I was in Bath in 2017. I studied abroad in England for semester, and I went to Bath, which is Jane Austen city, and I decided to get this when I visited the Jane Austen Museum. I've always loved Jane Austen. I've only read 2 of her books so far, but I do want to read her entire work. I have people at work who loved her, so I just thought that, you know what, I'm just gonna dive into it, read it, see what I think about the rest of her work. So I do plan on going through this year, and I just thought that this edition was so pretty. I mean, have you seen this cover? And the gold sprayed edges, I mean, I love it. It's so beautiful. Next I have The Way I Used to Be by Amber Smith. So I bought this book after Emma Books recommended it. She talked about this book countless times on her channel before, and when I saw that it was on sale at Indigo, I just thought, you know what, I'm just gonna buy it. It sounds incredible. It sounds like a very powerful and emotional read. I do plan on reading this during the Contemporary-a-thon, so hopefully I will be finally able to read this then. The next book is another contemporary read, and it is American Panda by Gloria Chow. So I got this last year when the book came out, and I never really got around to reading it, but this year I really want to read it. It is like a diverse contemporary, which is something that I've been trying to incorporate more to my reading, and I do plan on reading it for the Contemporary-a-thon, so hopefully I will be able to dive into it soon. Next is a book that I've talked countless times on my channel, but for some reason I still haven't read it, and this book is What If It's Us by Adam Silvera and Becky Albertalli. So this was one of my most anticipated releases of 2018, but for some reason I still haven't read it. I think it's because it got mixed reviews, but this is a signed edition. Like, I don't even know if you can tell. Whoops, I have my hand right over it. Of course you cannot see. But yeah, it's a signed edition, and I've been meaning to read it, but I just haven't gotten around to it. So I do plan on reading this for the Contemporary-a-thon, so hopefully that will happen soon. Next is a book by one of my favorite contemporary authors, and that book is Top 10 by Katie Cotugno. So I've read most of Katie Cotugno's work last year, and I absolutely loved her, so I haven't read this one yet. Just thought I would finally read it. I do plan on reading it for Contemporary-a-thon as well. Hopefully I will love it as much as her other books. The next book is one that I've been putting off because it got mixed reviews, and that book is The Lady's Guide to Petticoats and Piracy by Mackenzie Lee. So you guys know that I absolutely loved The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue, but I was really excited for this companion novel when I found out that it was being published, but it got mixed reviews. A lot of people who I trust really didn't like this book, so I just kept putting it off. I don't know when I'm gonna be reading it. I do plan on reading it soon though, because I want to get it over with, see what I think about it. Do I like it? Do I not? I guess we'll find out. But I love the first book, so I don't see why I wouldn't like this one. Next, we have a poetry collection, and it is The Sun and Her Flowers by Ruby Kaur. So I really liked Milk and Honey when I read it last year, but I just haven't gotten around to reading her second poetry collection, so I got it. I hope I can read it in February because it's gonna be great for the booktube games. A quick, easy read. Next, we have Chaotic Good by Whitney Gardner. So I got this in my Once Upon a Summer book box by Indigo, and I wasn't really planning on reading it, but it sounds good enough. I mean, it's kind of like a cross-dressing type of thing. Like, this girl wants to enter this Dungeons and Dragons cosplay competition, and she pretends to be a guy because girls are not allowed or something like that, and I just thought it sounded interesting. It's also a signed edition, I think. Yeah, signed edition. I don't know, I'm excited, and it sounds really feminist, so I mean, I'm excited. Next, we have The Way You Make Me Feel by Maureen Gu. I've been wanting to read this since it came out, basically. Like, a lot of booktubers and like bloggers and Instagrammers that I love really enjoyed this one. For some reason I haven't read it yet. I think I was waiting to read Maureen Gu's first book. I'm really gonna want to read this like in the spring summertime because it is set in spring summer. The next books are all part of one of my favorite series, and those are from the Addicted series. So we have Addicted for Now by Krista and Becca Ritchie. This is the second book in the Addicted series. Then there's also Kiss the Sky, also by Krista and Becca Ritchie, and this is the, I'd say, third book in the Addicted series, but it's also the first book in the Calloway Sisters spin-off series. I need to do my video where I explain how to read the Addicted series because it's getting complicated to talk about it if you've never heard of it. Next we have Hot House Flower by Krista Krista and Becca Ritchie once again, and this is the second book in the Calloway Sisters series. Finally, we have Some Kind of Perfect, also by Krista and Becca Ritchie, and this is the final book in the Calloway Sisters series and the Addicted series. So as you guys know, I've been trying to reread these books. They've been like the hardest to find, like in paperback. A lot of them are how to print. I have some of the books in this series. I'm missing like 2 or 3. I have ordered some, they're not here yet, but overall I've been just trying to reread this. I'm hoping to read at least Addicted for Now this month, but honestly these are like fast reads, so I think I could read them really quickly, even though like they're really thick. Like, I mean, look at this. This one is like 600-700 pages. Then we have one of the first books that I talked about on my channel, and that book is Call Me By Your Name by Andrea Ackerman. So I think I've hauled this in my very first book haul that I did on my channel. I will leave a link in the cards, I think on this side, if you guys haven't seen it and want to check it out. But I got this when the movie came out. Like, there was a lot of hype surrounding it, and I just never got around to reading it, but people keep recommending it, so hopefully I will get around to it eventually. Next we have The Vanishing Stair by Maureen Johnson. This is the second book in the Truly Devious series. I got this very recently, like the book came out in like January, 15th of January, if I remember correctly. And I read Truly Devious last fall. I liked it, but it wasn't amazing. But I was intrigued and I wanted to continue on with the sequel. So I got it. I think I'm gonna read it soon. I feel like I'm gonna like this. Apparently it's even better than the first one, so hopefully I will enjoy it more. Next we have yet another poetry collection, and this time it is The Witch Doesn't Burn in This One by Amanda Lovelace. So I've read the first poetry collection that Amanda Lovelace released, well, in this Women Are Some Kind of Magic series, I guess, and it was called The Princess Saves Herself in this one. Really liked it. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars, and I'm excited to read the second one. I mean, once again, this is something that I plan on reading like this month in February because the booktube games, and I want to read as many pages as possible. Those are like easy, quick reads for me, so hopefully I will enjoy it as much as I did the first one. Next, we have a short story collection, and it is Summer Days and Summer Nights by Leigh Bardugo, Francesca Leah Block, Liba Bray, Cassandra Clare, Brandy Colbert, Tim Federle, Lev Grossman, Nina LaCour, Stephanie Perkins, Veronica Ross, John Scovron, and Jennifer E. Smith, and it is edited by Stephanie Perkins. So as you can tell, there are a lot of authors. I think there's like 12. Oh yeah, it says so. There are 12 love stories. I read My True Love Gave to Me, which is like the first part of this duology, I guess, and I really liked it, so I just thought that I would get the second one. This is kind of an older like release. This is backlist for sure, but I think this is going to be like the perfect book to read this summer. Next we have a winter reread, and that book is The Chaos of Standing Still by Jessica Brody. So Haylene Bookland recommended this in her favorite books of 2018 video. I don't know, this sounds like something I would really enjoy. I do plan on reading it more towards the end of the year in December, because this is set around New Year's Eve, I think, and I just feel like this would be the perfect like wintry, Christmassy read. So I don't plan on reading it for a little while, but if Haylene Bookland liked it, I'm sure I'm gonna love it. Next we have another Maureen Gu novel, and that one is I Believe in a Thing Called Love. So as I said, I've been wanting to read Maureen Gu's work. I haven't read any of her books yet, but I wanted to read this one before I read The Way You Make Me Feel. They're not a series or anything. I just felt like reading this one first. It sounded super interesting, super cute, and I just love it. It follows like this girl who is using K-drama to get her crush to like her, I guess, and I love the idea, so I just thought that I would read it. I do plan on reading it in February if possible. I feel like this is going to be the perfect time to read it. Next we have Jacoby, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, let me know if you know, by William Ritter. This is the first book in this Jacoby series. Naya Reads and Smile read this last year, really liked it from what I remember in her video, and I've been wanting to read it ever since. This gives me strong Sherlock Holmes vibe, and if you guys know me, you know that I'm a big Sherlock Holmes fan, so I wanted to read this. I feel like this is gonna be a Stalking Jack the Ripper but done better. Next we have a middle grade novel, and that book is Nevermore, The Trial of Marian Crowe by Jessica Townsend. I've heard so many people compare this to Harry Potter, and I haven't read it yet. I bought it thinking that I would love it. For some reason I haven't read it. I just found this library book on my TBR shelf, so I think I'm just going to talk about it now. And that book is The Ship of the Dead by Rick Riordan. This is the third book in the Magnus Chasing the Gods of Asgard series. I've had this on my TBR shelf for like 3 months. I keep on renewing this book at the library, but I haven't gotten around to reading it yet, and I do hope that I can read it like really soon. I'm tired of having it on my shelf, and I love the Magnus Chase series, so I don't know why I wouldn't like this one. I heard that this one isn't as great as the other ones, so kind of on the fence here, but apparently Percy and Annabeth make an appearance in this, and I'm like, I'm sold. I mean, I'm sorry, but I have to read this. Next, we have Once Upon a Dream and As Old as Time by Liz Braswell. They are both part of the Twisted Tale series. I read the first one, which is A Whole New World, for my Disney 24-hour readathon. It wasn't as great as I thought it would be. I've been putting these off for this exact reason because I feel like I'm gonna be disappointed, but also I want to do a second part of my Disney readathon. I'll keep you guys updated when I figure that out, but I've been wanting to do a second part, so I've been keeping those for exactly this purpose. This is a retelling of Sleeping Beauty. This is a retelling of Beauty and the Beast. I mean, what am I waiting for? Next, we have Legend by Mary Lou. I actually read this a while ago, but I never continued on with the series, even though I've heard incredible things about it, and there's like a new book in the series coming out in 2019. I just really want to read it. I think I might do a 24-hour readathon for this one, kind of like what I did with the Shatter Me series, so I might be purchasing the rest of the series before I read it. Next is The Darkest Minds by Alexandra Bracken. This book is super hyped. I bought this summer when the movie came out, like around the time the movie came out. I know there was a lot of hype surrounding it because of the movie, but also because there was a new book in the series coming out. And for some reason I just never really got around to reading it. Once again, I think I'm doing like a 24-hour readathon thing with this series because it is a series. I think I'm really gonna enjoy it. This sounds like something I would really enjoy. I need to finally get on with this series just so I can finally see what all the hype is about. Next, we have another Alexandra Bracken book, and it is Passenger. I've heard mixed things about Passenger. Some people really liked it, some people really didn't like it. I've been on the fence when it comes to this book for a while because of the mixed reviews, but this was like $6 or $8 at Indigo. Like, it was on clearance, and I just thought, you know what, I'm gonna give it a try. It's a duology. There's a second part to this. Cover's really pretty. It's about time travel. If you guys have read it, let me know what you thought about it. Next, we have Fury Born by Claire Legrand. This book was so hyped around May when it first came out. For some reason, I haven't read it. I think I might like it, but I'm not sure at the same time. Once again, I've heard mixed reviews. At first, I thought I would like it, but the more things I've heard about it, the less I seem to want to read it. And there's a sequel coming out, so I mean, if I like this one, there's another one coming out this year, so that's good news. Next, we have A Reaper at the Gates by Sabaa Tahir. I read the first two books in this series in 2018 and I absolutely love them. It is one of my favorite series now, and I've been putting this off because I've been wanting to buy the paperback for this because I have the paperback for the first two books. I've been putting this one off a little bit because I don't know when the next book is coming out. As much as I want to dive into it and find out what happens to our characters, I also kind of don't want to read it just yet because we don't know when the next one is being released, or at least I don't know. If you guys know, let me know. But I don't want to have to wait too long for the next one, so that's why I'm kind of putting it off until we have a release date for the last book. Next, I have Queen of Air and Darkness by Cassandra Clare. This is the third and final book in the Dark Artifices series, and for some reason I haven't read this yet. Can you believe it? I've unboxed this in like my Queen of Air and Darkness book box during Vlogmas, and I was super excited. I wanted to read it, and I never got around to reading it for some reason. It's been 2 months, still haven't read it, but I've heard that you have to read the Ghost of the Shadow Market novella thing before you read this. You don't have to, but it's better if you do so. So I was thinking that maybe I should read those before I read this one. But the bind up for the Ghost of the Shadow Market only comes out in June, so I'm thinking maybe I'll read this around like June or July. I know they are currently out as ebooks and as audiobooks, so I might just read those as audiobooks or something like that. Next, we have another book that has been sitting on my TBR for way too long, and that book is Legendary by Stephanie Garber. This is the second book in the Caraval series, and I really like Caraval. It was one of my favorite books of 2017. I think I might have to dive into this one soon though, because we are getting the third and final book, which is called Finale, if I remember correctly, in May. Am I right? Am I wrong? I don't know. I think we're getting it this year though. Last but not least, we have Arch Enemies by Marissa Meyer. So you guys know that I wasn't that big a fan of Renegades. I wasn't sure I was actually gonna buy Arch Enemies, but after that cliffhanger in Renegades, I was like, you know what? I have a gift card that I got for my birthday, and I decided to buy it. I was like, I'm gonna read it. I do plan on reading it in March though. I have an announcement that's coming up on my channel at the end of the month regarding this whole thing that I won't get into because it's a surprise. So that's it for this video. Let me know in the comments down below what you think I should read next. Have you read any of these? Do you plan on reading any of these? If you want a buddy read with me, let me know. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to give this a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not already. And I guess that's it, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye!